Good morning, Big Brother fans. Good afternoon for some like me. It is me, Mike, a.k.a. BB Gossip, with your first actual live feed update for Big Brother 24. It is Thursday, July 7th. Sorry, I had to do the math in my head. And the house guests are actually up and about already for the second day, or for their second day, if you consider yesterday their first day. And I want to give you guys a quick update of what happened overnight. The last time I did a podcast was last night, right before the feed started. So I've got a lot to talk about. I will try to be organized, but many of you know that doesn't work well for me. I do my best with my train of thought flowing. I do have notes that I will try to reference here to explain to you what the heck happened and when-ish, and try to keep it all succinct. But those of you that have been listening forever know what you're in for. Those of you that are new, well, welcome to me talking to myself and the ride that can be. All right, so quick little notes on the TV show. I want to emphasize again that even though the backstage pass thing was a bit wonky and strange, I don't think it was fixed. I do think it was random. It just was not done well, and I didn't like the scanning. I thought they could have just used pulling out tickets instead of, a pretend scanning that Julie would announce and they would flash on the screen. It was. I know they did it for their reasons, but I didn't think it was done very well. All right, what else? There's no show tonight. The next show is on Sunday, so really, think of it as last night could have been a Thursday night show, and that may fall into what happens the next couple of days on the feeds. For some reason in my brain, I was thinking there might have been a show tonight, which would have been almost impossible for them to put together, but there isn't, so that may affect the timeline of what happens, if anything, today or tomorrow, as far as nominations and that kind of stuff. But the feeds went live at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 9:30 p.m. Big Brother time, right after the show ended on the West Coast, which was great. The house guests obviously had been in the house for about 3 hours already. They'd showered. They didn't have their clothes yet. They didn't have their suitcases yet. So they were just standing around in a massive group of about 15 to 16 people at any one time talking. It was a cacophony of sound, hard to keep track on. Not much actual gameplay was going on, of course. Although the socializing, of course, is gameplay, but there wasn't stuff worth noting that you would have missed, kind of a thing. Maybe a little bit of flirting between Kyle and Indy, but we all noticed that Kyle had said on his TikTok stream that he loves Brazilian women, so we were keen to see if that would show up, and so anything that Kyle said towards Indy was going to be taken as flirting, and he kind of was. Haven't really seen any of that go on, other than the initial stuff. But when the feed started, I think Daniel was actually in the head of household, or in the diary room talking, and he came out, called the house guests together, and announced the have-nots. So they're getting right to it. Of course, remember, CBS has got to get this stuff recorded for the TV show. So he had to do the have-nots, but guess what? Very quickly, guys started saying, I'll do it. And so Michael, Monte, Kyle, and Joseph all volunteered to be have-nots within 30 seconds of Daniel talking about it. So they're the have-nots. I hate volunteering for have-nots. I hate have-nots. Have-nots was introduced in Big Brother 11, and I wish it would go away. I don't see the advantage to it. I understand it causes stress and all that kind of stuff, but they don't even talk about it on TV anymore. Really. They will give it very, very little airtime each season. And so it just serves to be an annoyance to the live feed viewers more than the TV viewers. I don't think it has caused major drama in recent years. I mean, it used to, when the head of household actually had to pick people and make enemies by picking people, but now people volunteer. Some of the girls have already volunteered to do it next week. So it's already set up. Oh, we're going to do a have-not schedule. Who's going to be doing it? Anyways, they got their have-nots. They tried slop and they tasted it and da-da-da-da-da-da. They got recipes and all that kind of stuff. They also went upstairs to what is now become the regular have-not room and it was the bath theme. We've already seen it on the pictures that came out, not a bath theme, a pool theme. They're sleeping on floaties and stuff like that. I wouldn't say it's a terrible have-not room, so there you go again. But what it does provide, the one thing it does provide is a place where most people don't want to hang out, where some people have to hang out, and so it can help form some alliances. And it's very possible, of course, with the guys' alliances often happening, that Michael, Monty, Kyle, and Joseph could, form a guys' alliance of some fashion. I will not be surprised to see that happen. I don't think it happened last night, but I wasn't watching, and we don't know if the feeds were on the Have-Not Room all night long, so who knows. Have-Nots were done, and then a little bit after that, Daniel got his head of household key and got into the head of household, which of course is another whole group of people, trouncing into the room, standing around talking, and I had said going into it, well, let's see who's the first to leave, let's see who's the last to leave, and all that. Well, guess what? I think Daniel was the first to leave, so everybody followed him out. So there was no stragglers and all of that. Although there was a straggler. So the one thing that did happen while that was going on, Mooch, or not Mooch, there's no Mooch. There's a Pooch and there's a Monty. They could be Mooch if they align, which they were talking about. So Monty and Pooch, oh God, were in the head of household bathroom. Pooch is standing there talking to Monty, and the audio didn't flip immediately. You saw Pooch talking, and you knew he was whispering to someone, but finally they switched the audio, and they were talking about who would be good people to work with. And Monty, I think it was Pooch, was saying to Monty that he thought that Kyle would be good to align with. He'd already talked about somebody else. I'm not sure who. And, of course, it's possible that, maybe he was saying, Michael, that could be a name since he's a have-not. And then he also mentioned Joseph. He said Joseph might be a problem because he gets on other people's nerves. He can get on people's nerves, but he called him Joe, by the way, so I don't know if that's going to stick. But he said Joe, and I was like, who's Joe? And then I realized it was Joseph. So that did happen. That was the first real kind of people whispering that I saw. And but that broke up quickly. They headed back into the main group in the main head of household area, the bedroom. And then as they went downstairs, Pooch and Monty were kind of the last two down, and they seemed to kind of straggle a little bit like they were talking, but I didn't catch anything in particular. So that did happen. That was fairly early on in the night. There's not a whole... Honestly, at this point, that's kind of the major stuff as far as that goes that I saw. Then I went to bed, but I did see, right before I went to bed, Daniel was in the head of household room by himself. Cam talking a little bit, gave a shout out to his mom. I'll be honest, I am really liking Daniel, and everybody's really liking Daniel, actually. I think Daniel is going to be a fan favorite, so don't think that I'm some groundbreaker, trailblazer as far as being a Team Daniel kind of a thing. There are a lot of people that are fans of Daniel's. He's obviously an entertainer. He's not a 20-something-year-old. He's 35. He's done a lot, seen a lot, and is a good storyteller. So yeah, and so yeah, he's got charisma. He's ticking a lot of boxes for people, and he's the first head of household. So, but he did Cam talk a lot. He really was hoping that someone does something wrong so that he can find a reason to nominate people, because he says he likes everybody. He specifically mentioned a lot of names here, but some of the names he mentions, one thing was Nicole. He's like raving about Nicole, how great she is. So keep that in mind. He also mentioned Kyle and Terrence, and there was other names he threw out there. He threw out quite a bit. I mean, he mentioned Turner, which is Matt, a.k.a. Turner, who Matt was honestly... He was one that a lot of us were like, where is he? He was very quiet. He seemed to be kind of on the periphery of a lot of conversations. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know. We'll see. But right now, Matt has definitely not been... he's not going to get much camera time on the first episode for sure, because you sure didn't hear much from him unless something major happens between now and nominations. Because the first episode, the first recorded episode, which will be Sunday, will probably end with nominations. So once nominations are done, that's all you're going to see on TV. So everything up to now, right now, everything that's going on could make the TV show potentially. So they're okay. We talked about Daniel and the head of household. The other major thing that went on as far as gameplay was Paloma and Alyssa were quite chatty quite a bit of the night, and still going today, as a matter of fact. They seem really focused on being aggressive, trying to figure out who to go after. They see themselves, remember, they're two of the three backstage people. They want to target Brittany because they think that there's going to be a chance for, that one of them might be susceptible to going. There might be a competition between the three of them. This is all they're thinking. They don't have any confirmation. And so they want to make sure that they're on board together and they can get other people against Brittany. But they also talked about forming an alliance, and they talked about Haley from what season was that? Was that 20? Big Brother 20. They talked about Haley being the pageant girl in Big Brother 20 and how she played and how she got on the guy's good side and this and that. I don't know if I like. I mean, it's using your feminine wilds kind of a strategy as part of their strategy. But they also specifically, when they were talking about Haley, they talked about, and they called her pageant girl. Now remember, these people are new. They don't know everybody's names. That was made abundantly clear several times during the night, where they just didn't know names and they pointed to people, or they knew where people were from, that kind of stuff. So while I don't think it was malicious, it certainly is not a good thing for people to be calling it, for two girls to call another girl pageant girl, because it seemed to have negative connotations. And they are certainly not Team Taylor. Taylor is the pageant girl. And so they were plotting against her, feeling that she might be a bit of an interference in their influence over some of the guys. And they went as far as to eventually form I think it was called Girls Alliance or something. They pulled in the other girls. Now, I did not see this live. This is stuff I learned this morning. I may go back and watch it. I probably will. It probably will be shown for sure, because they did the all hands in, we're a team kind of a thing. So, but they formed this 6-person alliance, and specifically we're saying, now this is the core, and we can all go have side alliances, which is like, okay, this is textbook, recent Big Brother gameplay of form a big alliance and have sub alliances, but we're the root of the main alliance. So at this point, you would say that Alyssa and I gotta look it up. Paloma are the kind of the core, and they've added 4 people, and now they're telling those people to add other people. But I don't honestly remember. We are getting to see the very beginning of Big Brother, whereas in the past, I haven't been able to see this. Some of these things that happen come and go like that, like the blink of an eye, and we never hear about them. Before, we wouldn't hear about them until like weeks after. It's like, oh, remember that first day alliance, how that went? So this could be one of those. Oh, that first day alliance, I don't know, I just agreed, man. You don't say no to alliances, especially the first night. So take this stuff with a grain of salt in that way. But be aware, definitely Alyssa and Paloma are definitely plotting and scheming, and even if the 6-person thing is a flash in the pan and doesn't last, those two seem pretty solid with each other. I have not seen, to me, Paloma seems to be the driving force in that 2-person alliance, but Alyssa could be as well. See if one of those kind of breaks away and says, she's really pushing, and I'm kind of getting worried. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But no big guys alliance forming yet. Nothing that I've seen. What else? The other stuff, the backstage pass, there's voting. The online Twitter community the majority of the online Twitter community really wants to save Brittany. Even more so now after Alyssa and Paloma are plotting against Brittany. So they want to take her out of the mix. We're not sure how that's going to work yet. There's been several things. They cannot be nominated, quote, nominated, but we know they could be at risk, at least one of them. And they cannot vote, and they cannot be, it's just like, all right, what? I think possibly, and possibly not, there may be some kind of an ability for one of them to be, besides the saving of Brittany. I'm wondering if there's going to be kind of a competition between the two remaining. Let's say that Brittany gets saved, and maybe the other two, one of those two will get nominated. be nominated by default. So maybe there'll be 3 nominees on that first night. Not sure how it's going to work, how we're going to get to that where one of those 3 is at risk. But chances are, if the voting goes the way it seems to be with the online folks wanting it, Brittany will get saved, and it'll come down to Paloma or Alyssa being maybe a 3rd nominee. But again, we just don't have all the details yet, and it's still foggy. Nominations, will they be today? Will they be tomorrow? I don't know. Maybe tonight. Sometimes they want to get that first nomination, even though I think last year they did it on Thursday. I don't think they did it on Friday. I think they did it on Thursday. I could look back, but I'm lazy. So it could be that they'll do nominations on Thursday, being today, and then we'll have a full day of nomination scrambling, followed by the power veto on Saturday. That, my guess is that's how it will happen, but possibly nominations won't be till Friday, and then nominations on or a POV on Saturday. We'll see. We'll see how it rolls out, how it flows out. So that is everything, guys. That is kind of the quick rundown of what is going on up until this moment. As I said, the house guests are up and about, but big groups. They're all going to stay together at this point. There's not going to be any chances for breakouts, but there's possible. I'm sure there will be some whispering today. I'm not going to give any kind of an initial cast feel, other than I've said I really like Daniel. Nobody's rubbing me particularly wrong. I do think that like I said, Palomar and Alyssa are seeming pretty aggressive. Other than that, I'm looking over the pictures. Nobody is really, and I'm really liking Daniel. Kyle isn't annoying me as much as I thought he might. Monte seems very, very easy to get along with everybody. Yeah, now I'm looking at the cast. I'll do more of this probably tomorrow or sometime early next week when I talk about the individuals and stuff. I do a rundown where I talk about every single house guest and what my thoughts are. Again, those of you that have made it all the way to the end here, thank you for listening. Allow me to do a couple of quick little blurbs, just general information again. I am BB Gossip. I've been doing this Twitter account since, I think, 2009. I also sometimes go down a winding road with my history. The feeds are too exciting right now to worry about that kind of stuff. I don't need the filler, so we're not going to do that. But those of you that have been listening, thank you very much. You can, if you want to support me, the best way to do that, number one, the easiest way is just listen to the commercials at the end of this. The next better way, even better, is become a patron if you want to support me and actually throw some cold hard cash my way. That would be very cool. But this is free, and I will never charge for this kind of stuff. Definitely. First of all, I don't think people would pay if the only option was to pay to listen. There are some dedicated people who support me, and that is great. But I know the majority of people are like, if it ain't free, I ain't taking it. So thank you for listening. Those of you that would be interested in becoming a patron, you can definitely do that. You can go to patreon.com/BBGOSSIP and sign up there, and it's a monthly thing. There won't be another charge until the end of July. So frankly, you can sign up to be a patron, and you won't even feel it come out of your pocket until end of the month. Any other thoughts right now? Not really. I need to go and do some real life stuff. This has been almost 19 minutes so far. Usually my car casts can run anywhere from 5 to 10 to maybe 15 minutes at the tops, but sometimes they run longer. And they are usually done first thing in the morning when I am driving on my way to work. If something exciting happens, I might do one in the afternoon on the way home. But most of the time it is a morning, and it's a summary of what has gone on the day before. So keep all that in mind. There's lots of places out there to read about Big Brother, to hear about Big Brother. I hope I am one of your staples that you check in every morning. That's it. I'm out of here, guys. Thanks for listening. Any questions, just tweet at me, or you can also email me at ilovereality@gmail.com. And a shout out to my friend John, who laughs because I say I'm done and then I talk for another 5 minutes every time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.